Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Gal.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning. And Nick is here.
Hello.
Spence is away. Mike, hopefully, excuse me, will join us. Our numbers 919-518-9773, Computers 2K voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So what's happening, guys?
Not a whole lot.
Nothing much. I gotta say, I wasn't tuned in to any new happenings this week, so been really busy. So
I
at
don't know.
work
It
and
wasn't
regular stuff.
tech-wise. It wasn't that busy this week.
Have you guys ever played with Linux containers, Docker? They're now into something called Windows containers. Have you ever heard about that?
I've heard of the Dockers and Linux containers. I've never played with them though.
So, from what you heard, what did you understand?
How well I know that they're better than VMs because that they use way less resources per instance, but they are essentially a VM.
Right. So the idea behind them is the way of running the software, whatever stack of softwares, right, that you're going to run as you would have run in a VM, isolated from the external world, but running it on the same space as your other applications. So instead of allocating a complete virtual machine, right, per application that you want to run, now you're going to run each application in its own little world, but it still shares the same resources. It's a better solution for VMs. It has some limitations compared to VMs, right? You can't run complete operation systems that are completely different, but operation systems that are based on the same architecture and the same kernel, you can definitely do that. So, or it doesn't even need to be the same kernel, it can be the same kernel architecture. So yeah, the reason I mention it is because I've been working with Dockers now for the past year and a half maybe. That's what got me into cutting the cord, basically, because I was looking for a way of learning Dockers, and I needed to start installing some certain services and see how everything works and interconnects, and there's a huge amount of media-based servers out there ready for Docker. All you need to do is just call the image and it gets it automatically and it runs. And so this is a real shift in the way computing, back-end computing at least, is being done, and it's really exciting. And Microsoft has been working with Docker, with the company, and they have now Windows containers, which means they're no longer instead of just being able to run within the solution for Windows, Docker for Windows was to run a VM, a Linux VM on top of Windows, and then Docker as a service would basically coordinate with the internal VM running Docker as well, and the Docker images, these contained Linux systems, they would run in the VM. But that means there's this overhead of service management that you're starting to get hit by the VM limitations. And recently they started developing with Docker Windows containers, and that's been available since Windows 2016 server, and the latest Windows 10, the Creator Edition. You remember those updates they did on Windows 10? So that update introduced Windows containers, which means you can run a container based on Windows, and then you can run Windows services and servers. So it's a nice evolution. I don't think it's the first time that the Windows world is following open source community resources and stuff like that, but this is like a huge step. This is like taking a real big chunk and a leap of faith into this environment, and it's exciting.
So without getting super technical, how you do this? I right now have a little home server that's got, I don't know, 8 gigs of RAM or something like that, and I've got it split 4 and 4, one for a Windows VM, one for a Ubuntu VM.
Okay.
Would that still be the same, or does that change now that the Windows containers are available?
So the machine you're running, is it running services or is it something
It's running
you
full
use?
OSs.
Yeah, but how do you use it? Like
I literally use one as like a full Windows computer.
And what do you use the Ubuntu for?
The Ubuntu runs web services. The Ubuntu side runs services like Apache and stuff, and PHP and or MySQL and stuff like that. But the Windows side is running a full-fledged operating system that I like remote into and like actually use as an OS.
And what do you? Well, so if you remote into it, that means that even though there is a UI, it's not that important to you. So what do you do?
No, I use the UI. I use remote desktop to log into it.
That's okay. That's how you connect, right?
Yeah.
But what would happen if you don't have the UI? What are the functions that you're using the OS for?
I'm using it to run a couple of some GUI programs and stuff like that I don't know off the top of my head when I'm running on it, but it's just I just run a whole bunch of programs on it.
So what might change, right? Because you had to split, you had to create a VM that splits the resources completely.
Yeah.
Between them, what you could do is offload some of the services into containers, those that are running on the Linux server. Now, for now, the real problem for now is that those services, I think you mentioned MySQL, Apache. I wonder if they can run in a Windows container and not in a Linux container. But even if they run in a Linux container, then you just give it a 2 gig OS, GUI-less, because it doesn't need. Actually, what you would do probably is install Docker for Windows, put it in when it's installed, it's in Linux container mode, and you just configure the 2 services there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the configuration is rather simple. I mean, so when you're talking about setting a VM, you usually have this idea in the head, either this image of either downloading an image that is ready with those services, right? or just installing the OS, installing the services there. With Ubuntu, it'll be an apt-get command, right? You get the services, and then you go in and you configure them. With a Linux container, it will be very similar to downloading the image, but the operation would be a single line that you run in the command line saying docker run the name of the image, the name of the volumes where you want the storage to be kept on your external world machine, right? The real one, not inside the container. So it has this externalization directive saying, those ports that you work within that container, I want it to be in the real world, this port. That folder, that the directory that you're working in the container, it actually is an external directory, and you just give it it's this long string, but it's just one command that you can save in a file, and then when you run it, the service runs, connects to the world, and it is sharing the resources of the machine it's running on, instead of just hogging them, even if it's not using them.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. And I mean, I have currently a system. I'll need to check the specs. I don't remember. I think it's an i3 with 8 gigabytes of RAM. Might be more. I don't remember at this point. It's a machine that I scavenged basically, and it's running now 30 different containers in parallel. So some of them talking one with another's. Others are. I basically have my own cloud services, my own media services. They're all running inside my home. The connection here in the neighborhood is fantastic. We have Google Fiber, so I got
That's convenient.
yeah, I got a high bandwidth, so no problem. So I also host some backups for family and stuff like that. It's terrific, right? And it's a dinky little computer that basically sits in the living room, and it's also the media computer. I didn't need a separate server, so yeah.
Interesting.
So it's an excellent solution.
All right, let me ask you something. I mean, in short, I don't want you to get into detail, but if you take that machine now,
Mhm.
or if you take another machine with the same operating system and you're setting VM and you're running the same services, is it about the same thing and it's just easier to do it with the containers, or is it actually more effective and less resource hog using containers?
So if I would want each of those containers to run in its own separate VM, I'll need at least 1 gigabyte of memory per
No,
VM,
but
right?
that was not my question.
So
My question is, if you take the machine with Windows on it and you want to run another uh, different services on it on the computer, but you want them to be separate, so you set
right,
up a VM on that machine and you run another one, and then you say, okay, I also want that, so you set up another VM and you do
right.
that.
So each VM would at least hog one CPU,
Okay,
one core,
okay,
right,
so
and 1
that's
gigabyte of memory.
And
You
60
usually can't.
gigabytes of disk space. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
so
So
that's what you save by using containers. Is it's more effective, it's less resource hog than,
yeah,
but you
definitely.
accomplish about sort of like the same thing.
Yes, because when you work within the container context, you're inside this virtual world, this virtual
Right.
machine that is separate, right? So you have complete control within the machine. I'll use Windows analogies here because I think the audience is a lot more versed in that world. So if you think about working with Windows 7 with its whole slew of DLLs that it runs, and there's this I don't know, dinky little uh, old version of a package that if that doesn't exist, nothing works. But
Mhm.
if if it exists, it also interferes to newer packages, right? And you want to run it in its own little world.
Mm-hmm.
You can run another Windows VM for that, but that will be a resource hog, right?
Okay.
Because you'll need to allot 2 gigabytes of memory at least, and you need disk space for it to write, because a VM needs a virtual disk space location. It can't share the hard drive with the existing OS, and it might even simple things like services that they all run by default on the same ports, for example.
Okay.
A lot of services come configured out of the box with port 8000 used, right? Even though it's not an official registered port, right? A simple thing like that, some applications, some services, you can't easily configure, and others, if you can, they are now going out of default mode, and even if it's possible to configure, you know something isn't going to work. Now you run it within this container, which running a container is usually a single line, a single command that you will save in some script, right? And once you launch that service and it's mapped to a custom port, all you need to do for another service that calls with it is say, you know, that port 8000 that you always talk about, you keep talking inside your world with port 8000. I'm taking care outside of it of all the communications.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true for disk, and that's true for everything. So it's if you're thinking about evolution of computing and programming, so when it all started, right? I'm not talking Turing machine, but I'm talking when it had a screen and a CPU, a box containing the CPU and a keyboard, and you would program. It would start with assembly language and very very low level uh, paradigms of programming, right? And then we got to more complex languages and higher level languages that we call later C, and then we came with object oriented or started using object oriented languages, which allowed us to take everything that was learned about assembly languages and C, uh, and start thinking in abstractions of these components that go with data and code together, and then it grew to application level languages which make use of all of the applications that are already installed, and you're starting to script and program with already established applications, right? So it's not just reusable snippets of code and simple logic that was starting to be reused like in object oriented, but said the entire application knows to do something. Hey, I can, in one command, I can tell another application to run send an email, which is a very complex step of operations, right? And now I am programming in servers. I'm scripting in servers, right? I write a couple of lines and I have a new server running, and then I have another couple of lines and I have a new server running. And the reason it's that easy, it's because they hooked up all of these architecture of abstraction containerization into what they call the hub, which is basically a huge repository of images that are already pre-built by other people. So there's a community around it, right? So if I want to run, if I'm it started for development, the whole idea, right? So if I want to, and developers, you remember that DLL issue that I talked about Windows? DLL hell is one of the most terrible things you need to track down, because it's hard to figure out what the source is, and the developer machine is always different than the one that the end customer is going to run the software on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you wanna, so the ideal is that the customer and the developer will always run in the same environment, but you can't tell a customer you can run my application only on a VM, right? Because of the resources.
Mhm.
That's not possible. That's not maintainable, not on your side, and not even legally, right? And not financially in constraining your customers to run only in a certain way. So
Yeah.
this suddenly says, hey, you know what? You can run it however you want. You can still run it, but I got this already pre-packed system that you just run one command once you have Docker installed, right? And suddenly everything works. And whatever happens here, I am going to work with you and fix this, because anything I fix inside this container and I push to the community back, it's going to work for everyone else as well. And to update my system, all you need to do is shut it down and switch it on again, because then whenever you switch it on, you get the newest version.
Well, Microsoft needs to use that.
Microsoft is
No.
starting to use that. But
they need to use it for their updates.
Well, that won't work on a different level. So
Well,
it's not there yet for user world applications.
Yeah.
It's there for services. There's, first of all, one thing that either VMs can't do it either. They cannot share the display, right? You can share resources from in the background. You can share the CPU, you can share the memory, you can share disk, but you can't share the display. You can't display, right? You'll need 20 screens for 20 services or applications. Running that still, the display isn't shared. That's still not a solution for that. But I assume that eventually containerization will go into user world
it will.
software as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll get there. We're
Yeah.
just at the beginning, and the beginning started like 2013, 2012. It's not that it's rather
It's not that
new.
old.
Yeah, it's not old at all. The concept is older. The before Docker basically took existing architecture components that were already in place in Linux and made use of that. So they just simplified working with it, because it would be very low level calls. And Docker created this environment where it's really easy to deploy, pull, push, and run these services. So the Linux containers, that's not even a Docker concept. That just came later. But once they started doing that, almost everyone in the industry of computing services have fallen into suit, and there are huge infrastructures that the big idea behind Docker isn't even these single services that I described. The big idea is, let's take a whole array of services that are going to be distributed into the cloud, right? I'm going to ship them outside. They use a lot of the wording is all from the shipping world. Containers going on ships, distributing them. So
all right.
So it's I'm using it for about a year, and I'm still excited about it. And I know it's really technical, and I'm trying when I'm talking about it, I'm trying to find the little end of the thread that that will be interesting enough for for the layman to pull on. And
it takes
maybe,
time. It takes time until
it's
there's
complex.
something that somebody can press a button and that will go.
Yeah.
All right. Do I see Mike there?
Mike is here.
Morning, Mike.
But he's muted.
He's muted.
Oh my God.
Just hit the mic. There you go.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
What's going on?
Rent. The rent goes
Hmm.
on every month.
What?
It's true.
Can you hear Mike? Mike.
Now he's just being a jerk.
Oh, he's being okay. All right. 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype.
Comcast had a massive outage yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Friday.
You're right.
Yeah,
Friday.
Friday.
And so I read something that like 2/3 of their customers at one point or another were completely out.
Wow.
Which is a big issue.
Yeah.
So now there will be a population explosion in 9 months.
Well, I was when I sit here, and those of you who've been there here, I mean, I monitor the mail queue. And I see that the mail is building up in the queue, and normally it's empty. I mean, you send a message through Delta Force and it goes out. But it was going up at 9 and 14 and 22. And I said, okay, something is really wrong on the server. So I start looking and looking. And then I noticed that all of them are Comcast. And I said, okay, they're blocking us. So started looking to see about Comcast blocking. And the first thing I saw is Comcast down detector. And I went and looked, and sure enough, they were down. So
they were so down that the down detector site also went down because so many people were trying to hit down detector to figure out if Comcast was down. It was a massive outage. I guess there was some, as always, some construction crew hit a batch of fiber cable.
Yep.
According to this story, part of CenturyLink's fiber was cut, and I guess that's part of Comcast's back end, I guess. And they're actually cut North Carolina, funny enough. But they
because
millions of customers.
I was I called Marshall because he's in South Carolina, and he's got Comcast. I don't know anybody else that has Comcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him, and he said, "Well, let me see if I can get to my cameras," and he could. So apparently, it was okay in South Carolina, or in where he is. But yeah, they said that one of their backbone network partners had a fiber cut.
Yeah. 2 isolated fiber cuts in North Carolina's CenturyLink fiber network caused all hell to break loose. And it was coast to coast. It wasn't just the southeast or the northeast. It was the down detector map was pretty cool. At one point, the entire map was just red. the whole US. So
but I thought when Al Gore invented the internet, it was supposed to reprogram itself for redundancy.
Well, that's what's so weird about this whole thing is that it wasn't like a massive. It's not like one of the huge backbones. According to CenturyLink, this was just 2 little cuts in the fiber, and I guess.
Yeah, but you see,
handle the routing. I don't really know.
Mike is talking about the stuff that needs to reprogram. I remember back in 96 at the Internet Center, we had Time Warner Telecom came and put an OC3 hub. I mean, it was a big box. And they asked us if it's okay if they put it there and give access to other customers. I said, sure. I mean, having it right there was great. And the idea, they were talking about a ring. And the idea is that if on a ring, if you cut it somewhere, let's say that you are at 6 o'clock and you have a customer at 1 o'clock, and it goes from 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1 and reaches them this way. Let's say somebody cut the fiber somewhere between 6 and 1. Now the traffic is starting to go the other way, and it reaches them anyway. And that was the idea of a ring. And sure enough, when we had Fran the hurricane, and there was a lot of devastation around here. It worked. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. Why don't they? I mean, that's CenturyLink is not Comcast's only. They are one of their main ones.
Exactly.
So why couldn't it go? I agree with Mike. Why couldn't it go through? I don't know who else is there. Quest, somebody else that they have.
Well, that's what I'm reading.
I don't know.
The comments on this Reddit thread are asking that exact question: is two little fiber cuts took them down? Sure, okay.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
It's
it makes no
weird.
sense.
Yeah,
It makes absolutely no sense, Mike. You're right. And these are not things that the system needs to learn on the fly right there and then. No, it's already programmed into it. Said if you can't go this way, go that way. And I don't know. But it it didn't clear up until late on that night. That's when all the email went out.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, yeah, funny for us, not so funny for people who are on Comcast.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, it's not funny for them, but it is pretty funny that
Yeah.
two little outages, not even in Comcast's network, in
Right.
CenturyLink's network, pulls them down for us. I don't know. I saw a number 15 million customers or something like that. It was more than half their network.
And I sure hope that when they called CenturyLink, that the tech over there said, "Well, did you unplug your equipment and plug it back in?
Did you unplug your
Please
fiber
do
and
that.
plug it back in?"
Unplug everything and
I guess
just-
these people didn't call 811 before they dug. That's the problem.
Did you say something else? Oh, I thought I saw some popping in. All right. So breaking up with Facebook is apparently as difficult as breaking up with a bad boyfriend or girlfriend who won't accept your decision.
Hmm.
That's the experience Henry Grabar of Slate had when he stopped signing on. He stopped log in on June 6th and stayed off Facebook for 10 days. He had been a member for over 10 years, and this was the longest period he had remained off the social network. But Facebook didn't leave him alone. He received 17 email messages in a span of 9 days urging him to return. And I mean, I'm not a Facebook. I don't log into it just to see what's going on. I mean, if I get an email and I say, okay, yeah, that's something, a notification that somebody put something, then I go. But I don't log into it just. And I do get those.
Your use of Facebook is always incredible to me. I'll ask, hey, did you see that on Facebook? No, I didn't get an email about it. I'm thinking, what in the hell? What do you mean you didn't get an email about
A notification.
a notification?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
a notification email about it.
Yeah. I don't
I
go
can see
in
that
there.
making sense. If you use Facebook to communicate with people,
Okay, I don't.
yeah, but clearly
Yeah.
this guy does.
Yeah.
That's why what did
Yeah.
he say? Did he say 17 messages to come back or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
I mean, if you use it to communicate with people and stuff, I could absolutely see how that could be just as bad as, well, I wouldn't go to that extreme, but how that could be a very tough thing to stop using.
I guess it would. That's what that's what the joke. I think. I'm the funny thing here is, you tell your girlfriend, "Look, honey, it's over," and keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. So,
But he didn't do that. I'm just looking at his at the blog post.
yeah.
I think you were clickbaited. Let's put it this way.
Oh, fake
So,
news.
Yeah,
Fake
because
news.
all he's saying is he got messages about somebody added a new photo, somebody. So he had. I use Facebook a lot, right? Or
Okay.
let's put it this way: I used to use Facebook a lot, but in the past, I can say probably a month, I've logged in, like actively looked at my stream, maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Okay.
Okay.
And the only notifications I get are on my phone because I switched off everything. Facebook makes it very easy to disconnect. There's even an option of saying like take a break or something like that, they call it, right?
Yeah,
Where
take a break.
you switch it on, it basically disables, puts your account in like read-only mode or something like that.
Mhm.
Marks for everyone else even, so they'll know that you're not available, right? And you get nothing from them. And when you come back, you're back to where you stopped. And so the fact that people, what he's describing is that people from his peer group and from the groups that he was active in,
Following.
they were still active, and he gets notifications about that. I don't know.
Okay,
That's
now that should be
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I don't know what the big deal is. Sounds
Okay.
like as a tech writer, right? Sounds like he doesn't understand tech.
There are a lot of those. There are a lot of those, and I always go back to the story about this guy that back in the 80s, a neighbor of mine wanted to buy a computer when I started building the clones. And we sat down and we talked, and I said, "So what are you going to do with it?" Back then, not everybody had a computer.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, I do software reviews. I write software reviews." I said, "So which computer are you using now?" He said, "I'm not using a computer. I just write it." I said, "So how do you test or try the software to write about it?" And he said, "I don't. I read about it." I'm going,
Like
okay.
the Infection Podcast, we got lambasted this week about that. Yeah, the reading and not playing is a good way to get destroyed on the internet. Huh. Wow.
So yeah. Yep.
So
What?
exactly about that, I mentioned Reply All podcast. They had a story on their last on the last episode where about the what's it called? Sorry.
Dun, 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 dun.
Lost in thought.
All right. So when you think about it, come back.
Yeah, I'll get the details and I
Yeah.
just wanna get the names correctly.
All right. And look at that guy. Look at this. I don't know why Microsoft doesn't do this. Exploit broker Zerodium is offering rewards of up to $500,000 for 0 days in Unix-based operating system like OpenBSD, FreeBSD, NetBSD, and also for Linux distros like Ubuntu, CentOS, Debian, Tails, and others. Here's somebody who's offering a reward. This is not the software writer, the developer. It's an exploit broker. I'm wondering now, they may do it in order to get information so they can break in. I don't know who that Zerodium is, but why can't Microsoft, that's been riddled with program problems, with 0 day occurrences like that, why can't they just say, we'll pay you money if you tell us? Now, I don't know about the $500,000.
Oh, come on. You tell me Microsoft doesn't have $500,000 to get rid of a 0-day exploit?
Well,
I mean, they've got
no,
more
no,
money than
but
God.
the thing is, yeah, it's a volume thing. I mean, if they did this, there will be so many people who will find these that it's a lot of
Well, I think
Look,
depending on the severity of the exploit you find, it
yeah,
may be worth
right, correct.
$500,000 to
That's it.
Microsoft.
So that's why I say I don't know about $500,000. I mean, if I find something and I know I'm going to get $10,000, hey, that's good. But here comes somebody who's he's an exploit broker. This is like a hub for, okay, you want an exploit? Yeah, we have them. How much you want to pay? And when you see that somebody like this is willing to pay $500,000, you know that they're going to make a lot more by selling it. I mean, this is not something that you pay that kind of money and then you give it away. There are customers out there who will pay for something like that. So it's sort of like a, the bounty on something, and I'll give you 10,000, and when the law is going to give you 5,000 and you say, well, I want 10,000, it's tempting,
Yeah.
and it's a problem. It's definitely a problem. 500,000.
Some serious money right there.
I know. Again, because it tells you that there is serious money selling it. Serious business. So, God, did you find? Oh, go ahead.
I was reading an interesting article. I don't know where I saw it. Maybe it was may have been on Facebook. For anybody that's ever bought anything online, Mike may have even shared this post. I don't remember. Mike, did you share a post about Ticketmaster yesterday?
I did.
Okay, so I for some reason I saw it because you shared it. So anybody that's ever tried to buy tickets for a concert, a sporting event, or whatever, Ticketmaster is kind of the big boy. Ticketmaster and Live Nation are the two big places that you buy these tickets online. They charge all their stupid surcharges and e-ticket fees and all this other nonsense. And scalpers are always a big issue because people go in here and squander up all the tickets the second they become available and then resell them at twice the price. But in a lawsuit, the lawsuit is claiming that Ticketmaster themselves are providing select scalpers the ticket bot that they're using to buy these tickets right when they become available and then reselling them, and I would assume getting a cut of those resales. So Ticketmaster's making money off selling the ticket, and then I would imagine is getting paid on the backside when these scalpers are selling the tickets at 2 or 3 times the price, which is incredible. Mike, do you have anything more about this?
I just saw what you saw, but it's again of where the playing field is not level, and I choose not to play. There's not a concert out there I would pay a scalper to go see that I can think of. Now, if ABBA got back together, maybe that, but that's about as likely as sending Nick to the moon.
What about the Beatles getting back together? I heard that's a possibility.
Yeah, well, I would get into that one free. I have connections.
So I just thought that was, and by the way, if anybody that has never bought tickets on Ticketmaster, the human checks and all these little verifications that you have to go through to buy a ticket really is incredible. It's like 6 or 7 pages of, are you sure you're a human? Click this box to verify, do this security check, do that, do this.
And what they're saying is that this back end that Ticketmaster is reportedly selling to these scalpers bypasses all that. So they're picking up all the good seats while Nick is sitting there clicking till his finger bleeds.
Yep, pretty much. And I guess it's not surprising because there's no way a bot could legitimately, without some type of back end access, could buy tickets at that speed. It's just so convoluted. Plus, they limit you. You can only buy, in most cases, 2 or 4 tickets. And they bring up the play Hamilton, the big play Hamilton in New York, in which the tickets sold out immediately and were selling for 5 or 6 times their base value, which is pretty insane.
Well,
Uh,
the problem is bigger than that. If the tickets are that much in demand, these people ought to be doing more shows.
Yeah, and
I've
it's
got,
and it's not an anti-capitalist thing. I mean, I don't really mind people. I don't. People are going to scalp things. That's just part of the game. But when they're, as Mike was saying, getting an unfair advantage to scalping them, that's not okay. I don't mind people scalping things.
Look, it used to be illegal in North Carolina to scalp tickets.
Really?
Yeah, it used to be illegal. You could not do it. If it was a crime to sell a ticket to an event for more than the face value,
Interesting.
and that was repealed.
Oh, of
okay,
course.
so I have a question.
What, you think this is your show or what?
I was watching. I can't remember which one of those sitcoms, and they wanted to sell the tickets, and they went to sell the tickets to some event, but they were selling. He was selling it for the same price that he bought it. It was a $60 ticket, and they got arrested for scalping. Can't you go and sell it for what you bought it for? Is that considered still? Is that still considered scalping?
Well, no, scalping is above face value.
Okay, it was not, apparently. It was a $60 ticket, 3 tickets that they had for $60, and that's what they were trying to sell it for to get their money back. And the policeman, okay, here, I'm police. They took him, and I said, but wait a second, this was not scalping? And
If it's
but I
above
don't.
face value, it's scalping.
Okay, all right.
So, I mean, I agree with Nick. It's free enterprise, and it's people like Gall who know how to do all that crap, and they get the advantage. But there have been other times when other people have had advantages by virtue of what they know and what they're able to do. That's the way it works. I just don't have to play. Alan made the comment in chat. He said, "Do like Garth Brooks," in which I wouldn't go to a Garth Brooks concert not only for a free ticket, but if he paid me. But I asked him what Garth Brooks does, and he said he has more and more shows. He thinks scalpers should get the death penalty. Well, I think he's one to talk, but I agree with him at least in that regard. In that, if what is this stupid show Hamilton?
Yeah, the
A
big
bunch of
nightmare.
wackos
Yes.
and deviants, and if there's that much demand for the show, then they should be doing more shows.
Yeah. Well, I think the big issue with Ticketmasters comes up into sporting events where there's only.
Oh, thank God I'm not a sports
Well,
fan.
I know you're not, but you've got an NFL season with 16 games, so you're looking at, couple. There's only a handful of home games that are available to go to if you want to see your home team, and if these secondary brokers are being provided with software to bot these ticket. I mean, I would love to see Ticketmaster shut down. They are. I bought tickets on Ticketmaster. I don't know how long ago, a year, 2 years ago. The ticket was $40. I've spent like $22 per ticket in fees on top of there was $60, $62 tickets when I was done.
And you'll be done paying that much to park.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like God, like
God forbid, don't go hungry.
Oh no, I need my $8 hot dog and $5 Coke while I'm sitting there enjoying myself.
They were also in the news this week for something that happened in the UK. They leaked information about credit cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, GDPR.
Yeah. Good one, Mike.
But this whole thing, I don't play. If they're going to play a dirty game, I don't want to play. More power to them. People who want to fight and scrap for that stuff. I've seen years ago where people were scalping tickets illegally. The show didn't sell out. They were stuck with their tickets. It was a wonderful sight.
Oh.
And I agree again with what Alan said, at least to some extent, that Ticketmaster is a scalper. Why do these venues need Ticketmaster to sell their tickets? Why can't the box office have a computer that automatically handles this problem?
This is Live Nation and Ticketmaster have got their tentacles in every damn concert venue of any size around the country. They've got it in Walnut Creek and Raleigh is run by Live Nation.
Oh, they got it. But my question to you is, in 2018, how difficult would it be to set up one computer that would handle ticket sales for every event at Walnut Creek?
Oh, it's not even that. It's just it's not even the ticket sales. They bid out the entire operation of Walnut Creek to Live Nation. They handle the security, they handle everything. So that's just what they do.
I understand why they originally went to Ticketmaster. I understand that because they had people who were answering the phone and putting tickets in the mail, and then Ticketmaster comes along. They've got the software, the application. Look, we're going to charge the customer for our service. It'll cost you nothing. Let us take over ticket sales for you. They provide a service that these guys would probably have to go out and develop their own software to make it work. I get it. However, having said that, it's now much later. You could put the application to handle the entire operation at one venue could operate on one i7 PC.
Technically, yeah. You're right.
Well, technically, yeah, but it'll be a security hell.
What's
So
not?
usually,
It would be
uh,
it's
yeah,
responsibility too.
yeah,
What's not?
you
So
it
what? So
is, it
what's the
is.
security issue? The banks have security issues.
Yeah, but so that's why payment in general is always done through some third party that takes the responsibility.
Okay, but
Right.
neither Live Nation nor Ticketmaster is a bank. They're still having to use some
Oh,
sort of credit
definitely.
card processor, some back end service. And all I'm saying is that anyone can do that.
Oh, that's true. That's
I
Well,
no, no.
I've got the answer to Mike's question. The answer to Mike's question is these venues don't care a bit at all about the consumer and are
Exactly.
just looking to make as much money as possible without having to
Exactly.
deal with any BS. So they bid the entire contract out to Live Nation, who handles security,
Right.
uh, uh, setting up the venue, all that stuff, ticket sales through Ticketmaster. The venues just, and that's why you see these smaller venues sell all their stuff on their own website because they actually
Yeah.
care about the consumer in some respect, and they don't charge $22 service fees on $40 tickets.
Well, I grew up at a time when I was very lucky because I bet I haven't paid to get into 10 concerts in my life. I've always been in a position where I could get in free and usually backstage because of people you know and that sort of thing. But I thank God I'm not a sports fan because it would drive me nuts to have to try to compete. See, when I'm governor, I won't be but a one-term governor because one of the things I'm going to do issue an executive order that every state university has to reserve at least one ticket for every student enrolled at that university for a sporting event, and it can only be released 10 days before the event. If it's
When are you
not done,
starting that run for governor?
I haven't decided yet.
Oh,
Maybe after Dan Forest.
oh, there you go. I'll vote for you, Mike.
All right. But I don't understand this turning this big business as college sports events or mega $1 million deals where we pay coaches multi-million-dollar salaries whenever students can hardly to create a lifetime of debt to try to get an education to make a living. It's just crazy.
All right, let's go to something else here. And there's not going to be any specials today because Spence is out of town. I remember you talking about this, Nick. Troy Hunt, web security expert and creator of the website Have I Been Pawned, wrote a blog post announcing his partnership with Firefox and 1Password. For those unfamiliar with the site, Have I Been Pawned allows you to search across multiple data breaches to see if your email address has been compromised. The service is especially handy now that data breaches are becoming a daily occurrence. So apparently, he's got some kind of a partnership with Firefox, and you may be able to check right from within the browser if your email address is on any of these compromised, has been compromised. Let's put it this way. That's very interesting. I remember using it once when Nick talked about it some months ago, and that's it. I mean, you don't think about this, but if it's there in front of you, uh, and hopefully you just have to click a button or something. That's nice. You'll do it more often. Nick is not here.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know. I've never trust systems that tell you if you're hacked.
Your audio went lower again.
My audio went lower again. Great. I have no idea why that happens.
Okay, go ahead. What did you say?
I
Yeah,
mean,
getting closer to the camera is not going to do it.
No, it's just me getting more comfortable. I mean, I find systems that tell you if you were hacked,
Yeah.
I don't trust them.
Well,
It's like
I would rather know. I would rather get information that is maybe not accurate, so
It's
I
not
could
that.
check, than not know it all, and it has been and I have been compromised.
I'd
So
like to know, and I do appreciate the setup, but
yeah.
the thing is in order to know if you are hacked, you need to provide your information.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Right? So
Yeah.
you're telling me, I'll give you the biggest example. The
Now-
biggest example was the Experian hack,
Right.
right?
Not Equifax. Yeah.
Equifax, right? Equifax. So there was a huge hack, right?
Right.
And then they said, hey, go into our website and we'll tell you if you were exposed or not.
Right.
Right?
And you have to enter all that.
And you have to enter all your information. The last time you were hacked, right? Why should I trust you again with my information?
Yeah. No,
So
now remember. Now remember, over here, it's not for any of that. It's just your email address, which you put on the internet every day.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all they're going to let you know is if your email has been leaked from one of those sites.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's, I know exactly what you're talking about, because when I went there to check and I said, what is your social security number? I said, I'm not going to give it to you. Well, I mean, you got to come up with a different way of doing it. But yeah, that's good point. Very good point.
Have you noticed on that site, it's probably down now, but you noticed on that site that you enter your social security once, you get an answer, and you enter it again in a new browser, you'll get a different answer?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. This is an interesting article here, which it didn't make much sense to me, but if your PC doesn't run streaming single instructions multiple data, SIMD, they call it, extensions 2, you apparently won't be getting any more Windows 7 patches. At least that's inferred from some clandestine knowledge-based documentation changes made in the past few days. Even though Microsoft says it's supporting Windows 7 until January 14, 2020. So if you have an older machine, and here comes the funny part, including any Pentium 3, you've been blocked. And there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm asking myself, I mean, people really still using a Pentium 3 somewhere, with Windows 7? Or even Pentium 4, when you say P4, you're not talking about a Core i3 or, the old Pentium.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But that's interesting that they're not going to support Windows 7 anymore on these machines.
Makes total sense, no? I mean, from an effort investment, right? I mean, and it, by the way, it usually doesn't mean that it won't work on those machines. It usually means that they are not going to test it on those machines anymore. So they're blocking it automatically from the the
Yeah,
updates.
it's very possible that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the situation here with the streaming machine, the switching machine, which was a running Windows 7, and it was a 4790, a quad core for an i7 4790,
Mhm.
and I upgraded it to Windows 10. I mean, right when in the last few months, just to because everybody was saying, "Amnon, you need to put Windows 10, Windows 10, Windows 10." And the first time I got an update from Windows 10, it says your CPU does not support. We do not support Windows 10, whatever update it was on older CPUs. And I said,
On an
older
i7.
CPU, a 47. I mean, it's a 47. It's a fourth generation. But I mean, so it may be 4 years old. I don't know what. How old is a, you know? But it was very. I said, okay, never mind. I put Windows 7 again on it, put it aside, and I got an 8700 machine that would take it. But it's ridiculous.
It is. It sounds strange. Sounds like a bug in the detection
Well,
application. Yeah.
I don't know,
Doesn't
but
make sense.
the what?
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah. It was a 4790. There was something here about. Oh yeah, you were talking about Windows 10 updates and all that.
Mm.
Despite Microsoft assurances, Windows 10 1803, which is the one, the latest, what is it, fall, spring? Which one is it? The one that was
Uh,
just done.
yeah.
Isn't ready for prime time. This is from Computer World, Woody Leonard. And he's adding Microsoft patches in June took on some unexpected twists. Windows 10 1803 was declared fully fit for business, and pronouncement that was followed weeks later by fixes for a few glaring acknowledged bugs and stony silence for other known problems. We're continuing the 2 big cumulative updates a month pace for all supported versions of Windows 10. The second cumulative update frequently fixes bugs introduced by the first cumulative update. Microsoft may think that Windows 10 1803 is ready for widespread deployment, but there are a few folks who would take issues with that stance. And I can tell you there were a lot of people that had problem with 1803 in the live streaming and video world, that they rolled it back. One of the thing here, it was saying it there were the Windows Update server software. In practice, life isn't so simple. WSUS, the Windows Update server software, that's the off line, isn't seeing KB 428 4848 as of late Wednesday afternoon, which may be a good thing. There's some updates you don't want to see. Take it away. I don't want to see it.
Mm.
As of late Wednesday afternoon, which may be a good thing, along with the second cumulative update this month, there are additional releases to fix the servicing pack. So it's more and more problems. And this one says one problem that has been acknowledged, but only by a Microsoft agent on the Answers forum post, says that installing 1803 can clobber your peer-to-peer network.
Whoa.
And that certainly matches many user experience. And he concludes, if you think Windows 10 1803, this is somebody from Microsoft, is ready for prime time, you're welcome to give it a try. Unfortunately, sooner or later, it's going to install it by itself. And hopefully, it'll be fixed by then.
Yeah. anything in enterprise software is so complex. I work for a software company.
Well,
I do support there, right? So, and I always find it interesting dealing with. So when it comes to our software, the enterprise that we're working with, let's say, will probably never take the latest version and start
shouldn't.
using
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
But when they call us is, oh, we just installed this 2010 version of this application that your software relies on, right? And everything breaks. so
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's a problem. Absolutely.
Enterprise software is, but then again, right? What is the right approach? You always need to let someone burn on it, and sometimes the burn is hard, and sometimes it's a light burn.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Microsoft, I mean, because Microsoft is so ubiquitous, it's so everywhere. I think that's why it hurts so much, right? Because if something small happens, we will know about it immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found a bunch of things also this week about Microsoft. I never really deal with them directly,
Yeah.
but moving Delta Force to another provider, another location, and it's a new IP. It doesn't do email yet. Everything is working, but there's limited email coming out of there from websites. And I found out that that IP address was blocked in many places. And all these customers who send me the notices, I go and log into the provider that's blocking this IP address and fill in their form and explain. And within hours, it's clear. Not so much with Microsoft. Microsoft Hotmail and Outlook.com. We keep getting blocked. It says this IP address is there. Do this and do this, and they give you a place to go and do it. So I went and I did it already 4 times in the last 2 weeks. Nothing. It's still blocked. And reading about it is showing me that a lot of people are having problems with Microsoft. They just don't. It's like they don't care on that site with that. Oh yeah, we take it and we do it and blah blah blah, but nothing is happening. So this is my experience with Microsoft in the last few weeks, and it's not pleasant. But that's life. It'll straighten out, but it's unnecessary.
Yep.
So Nick,
Yes.
how many Bitcoins do you have?
Oh, let's see. Hold on.
Did you hear where Bitcoin is?
Now, is it up or down?
Bitcoin fell to as low as 5,774 on the
Oh, I see
Bitstamp
that.
exchange. The lowest since November 12th of last year. So far in 2018, Bitcoin has tumbled almost 60% after soaring more than 1,300% last year. It is now down 70% from its December peak. The total market capitalization of cryptocurrencies is falling to around 230 billion from a peak of around 800 billion in January. So it's still fake money, but it's going down. Can you imagine that somebody is sending you information that your monopoly money now is not worth as much?
I don't. I own 0.00656927 BTC.
Wow.
A high roller.
Yeah.
41 whole dollars
Yeah.
worth of Bitcoin. And 62 cents.
But That's if that's not a warning and say to people who are doing it not with money that they can afford to lose, then I don't know what is. Mike, are you going to go buy now that it's low?
I'm going to hold where I am for the moment.
Well, it's low, but
More
it's
than
shot back up.
It's now the time to buy. I mean, people were when it hit $20,000. People, oh, why didn't I buy it? Why didn't I buy it? So now that it's dropped down to 1/4 of the price, oh, it's gonna useless. It's just a loser. I'm not going to do that. And then it goes back. I wish I'd bought it when it was 5,000.
So on Thursday, it hit a low of $55,820.53, and then it rebounded Friday back to $6,400, and right now it's sitting at $6,334 per coin.
Yeah.
We shall see.
I'm buying Litecoin.
What are you buying? Ethereum?
No, it's just Litecoin.
Hmm.
Ethereum is if I were going to start all over again, I would only buy Ethereum at the moment.
Yeah, Ethereum's
But
pretty
I'm
solid.
not. I'm in it for the long haul. I don't even look at it, see where it is.
I haven't looked at it until Landon just mentioned it.
I don't care if it goes to $5.
I actually, you'd actually be impressed with this, Mike. I actually went and got a credit card and put all my Bitcoin transactions on my credit card with 0% interest.
Right. Well, that 0% interest is important, but be careful because some banks now will not let you buy cryptocurrency with a credit card.
So a lot of them made Wells Fargo and a bunch won't, but I actually am taking a reverse mortgage out of my apartment to buy Bitcoin.
You can actually get a title loan on your car.
Oh, I actually just got the title signed over. I actually now own my vehicle, so I could do that now.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yay!
Yes. Sarcasm.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen. Sarcasm.
Don't
Don't buy Bitcoin on credit.
The what?
I said don't buy cryptocurrency or Bitcoin on credit. It was a joke.
Who among you guys runs a Facebook group?
I do.
I think I'm an admin in one.
Nick is.
Yeah.
Facebook announced in a blog post that the group administrators can start charging $4.99 to $29.99 a month for exclusive membership in certain groups. Parenting, cooking, and home cleaning groups will be the first ones to get the new feature as part of an early test. That's from The Verge. It says, as it stands now, free groups will remain intact, but they will soon have the option to launch premium subgroups. For instance, lifestyle blogger Sarah Mueller, Declutter My Home group, is starting an Organize My Home group that costs $14.99 a month to join.
Yeah,
So
let
you
me
get
run over
you
and
get
do that.
the gist. What?
Let me run over there and do that. That'd be good. $15 a month. That's more than I pay for
Yep.
my server hosting for a month.
So they are. It's not, and they're. Facebook is saying in that blog post they won't be getting a cut of the They will not be getting a cut of that subscription.
Huh?
So this is for the people who start, and the administrator of the group. They're allowing them to make money. They're allowing you. Apparently today, if you want to charge, you can't. But this will allow group administrator.
They won't be taking a cut.
They will not be taking
for
a
now.
cut. Well, yeah, they didn't say the for now was
a test run.
omitted. Yeah, yeah.
I actually like this idea.
It will cut down on clutter. Anyway,
A lot of people will leave Facebook. It'll be a lot quieter, I think.
I mean, I'm trying to think about this. If there was something, I mean, obviously, Mike and I are in the broadcasting realm, and if there was a paid group, I mean, there's a whole bunch of great free resources online. If there was a group that was $5 a month on Facebook, and I mean, I don't know off the top of my head what what would be the draw for me to pay for it. But if there was something that was genuinely useful,
Uh-huh.
I don't think I'd mind spending, because there's plenty of paid for
But
forms that
what
you have
is
to
it?
pay to get
But all
access to.
seriousness though, Nick, what is it? What Facebook stop and think for a moment. What Facebook group is there now or that could be there now that you would be willing to pay by the month?
That's the thing, is I don't know exactly what it is right now, but for example, like radioinsight.com charges a premium to get access to certain industry-based stories. If that
Yeah.
stuff was available on a Facebook group, I guess I'd pay for it.
Every one of those stories is available for Facebook for free. And always some subscriber who says
Yeah.
that they go run into it. And now you might not be able to get it. It might be 3 minutes later that you get it. But, you don't have to pay for all that crap. It's just like whenever I go into some of the Twitter posts, someone will post a link to a newspaper site that has a paywall. You click on it, you get to see the first paragraph, then you have to click here, pay to subscribe to get the rest of the story. All you do is just take even the headline, cut and paste it into Google, and 15 other newspaper sites have it for free.
I on this some Bloomberg publication. Damn, I can't find it. I
All
need
right.
to find this, because
Okay.
But
it was
I
incredible.
don't think it's a matter. I mean, we're all, we all have our own opinions of whether we'll join it or not. The real question is this going to create a new market or not, right? I think that's is this going to boom, or is this going to just, be just a bad experience and it's not going anywhere?
Well,
The
remember the kids have already gotten away from Facebook.
Right, exactly. So what? It's going to become what? CompuServe?
I don't know. I think, but we had this. I don't know who it was with, but I had this discussion this week about Facebook. It was someone who's not very technical, and I remember who it was now. Very well connected guy politically, but not a very techie guy. And he says, "Well, what about Facebook? When is Facebook going to get some competition?" And I said, "Every day." I said, "If
They
you,"
have competition.
I said, "You give me a check for $10,000 and I can have in a month or two, I can have a Facebook site set up identical to it, operate as well or better than the crap that they do without all the stupidity. And people sign up, post everything. It would work exactly the same way. But what good is it if people don't know about it or decide to use it? It's not a matter of the competition. It's a matter of getting in front of the right people who choose to participate. Or, like it is with TuneIn and some of the others, they're going to start, or even SoundCloud and others, they're going to chase their customers away. Who is it that shut down? What was the name of that thing we were using, Nick? That you
Oh,
love so much?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
So that site that shut down with the multiple video screens.
Oh, Gab. No, not Gab.
Yeah.
Blab.
Blab.
Ah, yes.
They chased their customers off and shut it down. It
Yep.
didn't have a viable business model. So Facebook is susceptible to do it to themselves.
Yeah.
More power to them. I couldn't care less. I check Facebook about every day. And the reason why is because I have joined some groups that I find quite interesting. I'm in the Raleigh. I found a group of no one but Raleigh, North Carolina pilots in it. That's very useful to me. I've already met some of these guys and gone flying with one of them. That's a wonderful thing. It's great. But if Facebook decided they were closing tomorrow, it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't change my routine.
Right.
No.
So what I was talking about. So you're talking about paywalls, Mike. So Bloomberg Business has just put in a paywall for you to read their articles now, and it's $34.99 a month to have access to Bloomberg Business articles. Not a year, like I think the Times charges like $50 or $60 a year. $35 a month to read some of their content now, which I thought was incredible.
I
Not
would
interesting.
I would think that a lot of them are doing this because of one reason. They were free. They made money though from advertising, from clicks. If not enough people, I mean, and those clicks, you make fractions of a penny.
True.
if you don't have enough clicks and you don't make enough money, and you generate, I don't know, $500 a month when you're supposed to generate 5,000. So, you know what? Let's just go and paywall it. There will be a few people. I mean, now you need about 20 people that will pay it to generate that kind of money. So yeah, they chase a lot of people away, but there weren't that many people to begin with because they did not generate any money from advertising.
Well, I mean, Bloomberg should be able to generate money from advertising. I mean, they're one of the most hit websites on the internet. I mean,
Well, obviously, look, if you have a site that is going to make you $1,000 a month today, but just by advertising, you know that if you're going to go and if you're going to start charging money to come in, and especially that amount of money, you're not going to have that many people that are going to pay you. Would you do that? I wouldn't.
see,
There must
Bloomberg's global website ranking is 452. Their U.S. rank
Yeah.
is 171. You're telling me they
Yeah.
weren't making money on selling advertising? I mean, that's nonsense.
I'm just saying that maybe we're talking about a lot more. So they're generating $20,000 a month, but they want to generate $50,000 a month. I don't know.
I just
I agree that you chase people away. You say, okay, now I'm not going. Would you pay that much?
But
are you
they
asking me
don't-
now?
They don't only chase people away, right? They're basically they're closing doors, so they have more control of who has access to their original content, right? And they know, right, by pricing it that high, they know that they're going to get enough business that and they're going to use that business in a smaller scale and deployment. They don't. So by putting the paywall, they don't need to expand their deployment, and they're making more money. I think that's the key,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Infrastructure remains the same for a long time until the pay users are going to require that infrastructure. So
Especially like you Nick, Bloomberg is not. I mean, that organization is not stupid. They didn't get to where they are by being stupid. And if they do it, there's got to be the bean counter. The bean counters there now are doing their work, and apparently there's enough beans in doing it paywall than on advertising. And you know what? They probably were still making some money from advertisement, even though they paywall it.
I mean, they are. I'm looking on their
Yeah.
site right now. There's ads all over the
Yeah.
homepage. I mean, they're making
Yeah.
money. It's just, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't mind for paying for things, but things, and I guess if you're, I mean, if you're
a news organization and
news. Yeah, it's just, I mean, this is Bloomberg. I mean, Bloomberg. If you're a stockbroker or something like that, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe you buy.
Yeah, it's
maybe you buy
nothing.
it.
It's nothing to pay
Yeah.
that much a month if you go there and you rely on their information for
Yeah.
your daily operation.
Who knows?
Listen to this now. This is another interesting situation. According to a new Pew Research Center study, 72% of those polled from a sample of 4,594 adults think it's likely companies such as Facebook and Twitter actively censor political views that they consider objectionable. The study finds that Americans don't trust those companies to be impartial when it comes to partisan politics. So 72% think that Facebook and Twitter are censoring. But I mean, we hear about it every day in the news. And here is Pew Research is not a fly by night organization. That's interesting. And talking about Facebook again here. A security failure in a popular quiz app on Facebook left millions of people's data exposed for almost 2 years.
Ooh.
Says the application called nameetests.com has run Facebook quizzes for years, but it left unprotected the personal data of Facebook users taking such a quiz on its website, allowing third parties to read and steal the data. And it says the leak was discovered by Belgian hacker who published his finding in a blog post. There was a security leak at one of the most popular quiz apps that was accessible for at least 2 years, he says. This is amazing. So here is, I contract the company to run some quizzes on my service, and they take that information and post it on their website.
Oh no, you don't contract.
Huh?
It's not you contract. It's not Facebook contracts the survey or whatever.
Well, I mean,
people post surveys, but the authentication is done via Facebook.
oh,
right?
so these are like if I wanted to run a quiz on Facebook and I go and I set it up, it's automatic. Oh, I see.
Yeah. So Facebook provides an API to
Okay.
to identify and everything. They're not associated with Facebook in any
Okay.
way. Facebook just provides the infrastructure. But but if your platform is successful, what you end up having is you have a lot of Facebook data. One of the things for any Facebook user, if you want to keep safe, right, is basically disable all applications. But that's tough. Facebook has made it tough because you do want some integration with these applications and your Facebook account. So then the next step is just making sure that you know exactly what type of information is being shared with the third party application.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do that, the first time you connect, it gives you a list. If you've installed an application on your phone, you see those lists all the time. But here it's in the context of Facebook, right? And it tells you, I'm going to know your email, I'm going to know your name, your age, I'll see your profile photo. But then it goes into, I will be able to see the list of all your friends, I will be able to see all their photos, etc., etc., etc. And usually you can control what is exposed to these. The real problem starts with this, they call it a survey application. That's probably not even true, because the topic of the surveys will probably be, let's see what type of animal your friend thinks they are, right? They're just these generic clickbait, gaming fun, something that looks like benign and fun applications that are based on this social graph that is built behind the scenes by Facebook. And you are basically providing access to that application. And then comes the infrastructure thing of, do they know how to save that? So nobody's going to get your password.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to get
But they get information.
really, 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 let's say financial information. They won't get that, but they get enough in order to be able to impersonate you sometimes, right?
Well, they get it. They would get enough. They would get whatever the quiz or whatever is asking for. And if they ask, if part of this quiz is, okay, what is your income a year between this and this, between this and this, A, B, C, D, E, F, and now they know.
Yeah, but let's put it this way. I don't think you, Amnon, will click on a random survey that comes up on your screen.
Right. I wouldn't.
That would ask about your financial state.
Right.
But you will click on I'm not talking about you specifically, but you might click on because a friend just answered a survey that he chose what was his favorite animal and his favorite color, right? And suddenly you get all of these hints to all of these password
Yep.
recovery, right? You scavenge for information.
Yeah.
The scavenging for information, while seems benign, it is huge. A hacker that gets a hold of that database,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. That's
That's
ridiculously
information. Yeah.
open.
It's information that will allow a hacker to harvest and to work toward getting more important information from somewhere else based on these results. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Look, we've been on the
Oh.
net, right, since it became
Yeah.
commercially available. And the first rules when connecting on the net was never use your real name, right? Always use an alias. And the idea of even giving your email wasn't encouraged. But when we now live, right, and it started with LinkedIn and then Facebook with systems that by definition require you to identify yourself.
Yeah.
Right? If you do not put a real name and a real photo and somebody reports you, right, the system will kick you out. So there's no place for non-humans who identify themselves. At least that's not that that's the case, but it's
but we all you're
it is
right.
It is encouraged by the system.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To identify yourself. This is ridiculous, but still people do it. I mean,
we got used to it.
yeah,
We got more complacent.
Everybody, yeah. I'm in it as well. I know I'm as complacent, but we now live in an era where identifying yourself and broadcasting your identity out there is second nature to everything, and we need to deal with the consequences. So if you use Facebook, open another free email account and use it through that account. If you don't expose too much of yourself, if you do want to identify as yourself with your own photographs and all that. But I would definitely remind people to to start thinking of the amount of people they know in person, right? And think of and only that, right? Don't even think about strangers yet. And now start thinking of whether you want to be exposed to all of them.
We're already exposed.
In certain ways we are.
Yeah.
In certain ways we are. Yeah.
That's some of it is there's no turning back. But the kids kids need to learn.
The kids actually are more. The kids have a great incentive that we as adults we have less. The kids don't want, because when we started, we were the kids. It was our playground, right? The only other grown-ups were either predators or weirdos, right? Not like those guys who are into it, who are kids in their heart.
Yeah.
Today, the parents are on the same networks. And the incentive of the kid of keeping private is to keep away from the parent, right? That's one of the main reasons they're not using Facebook, because their parents are there.
Absolutely. I was absolutely right with that. Spot on.
So Facebook now is the mailbox outside. Facebook is the old people system, the old people network, right? And exactly like email is, right? Email is today for bills and for junk mail. It is less and less and less about personal communication, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, if you really want to communicate with someone who is hooked up to the net, right? You don't tell them send me an email. You say,
I do.
well, I know you do, but
Amnon
you
says,
are,
send me a letter in the mail. Here's my address. I'll send you a postage stamp. You can.
Amnon, you are a very principled person, right? But
Principal, that's an interesting word.
well, let's put it this
Yeah,
way. I
no,
like
I-
Amnon.
I-
I want to keep meeting him, so I'm
Well,
gonna talk nice.
That's a very good word to use then. Principal, that's a great word.
He's nothing compared to his brother, so
Yeah, it's all on the phone and text messaging and you know.
I've actually texted the great Amnon Nissan quite a few times.
I know
when I was-
texting it does, but WhatsApp.
What's
No,
that?
but I've never used WhatsApp either. See, like I mean, I'm not a very social. I mean, I'm 21. I'm not very social. I just made a Snapchat like 3 weeks ago
What's that?
and an Instagram.
What's that?
Oh, snap! you almost baited me.
Hey, he got you. He got you.
But
Snapchat
yeah,
and Instagram and all of that. Any social network, right, would work only if you have 50 or more people in it. Otherwise, you won't go back to it.
right.
I don't know what will happen with your Snapchat account unless you get a bunch of friends who use Snapchat and you communicate with them on it. Otherwise, it's just an app on the phone and you don't use it, right? So what
Yeah.
makes it useful is the people you're in it. Right now, it's the people who joined Facebook since
If
2005,
if you're communicating with them,
right.
Yeah.
If you have some sort of active communication. Now, I can say, right, my friends list on Facebook is way too high, right? But it has become a place where I visit less and less because I am less active on it. So this is Hyde Park. Either you come with a box and you have an audience, right? Or not.
mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
everybody wants a cut of it, but they won't get it. I mean, but this is the modern version of 15 minutes of fame, I think. The part of interaction with when you are interacting with a group that is larger than your peer group, right? So, but I don't think it's definitely not a fad. Facebook is probably going to be, the next email. Like it's this ubiquitous system that is always going to be there, and the usage will just shift and morph and change.
Yeah. Very possible.
Yeah.
You want to go into business?
I don't know.
If you
That
have
sounds scary.
if you have $10,000
Oh yeah, I've got plenty of money.
and want to be your own boss,
Okay, I'm liking it.
Amazon has a deal for you. Have
No, thank
I?
you. Not interested.
They have a deal for you.
Do I get to pee in a water bottle because I'm so busy?
Starting Thursday, this last Thursday, you can apply to start your very own small business delivering Amazon Prime packages in Amazon branded vans and uniforms. The company wants to help launch small businesses in the United States dedicated to taking its packages on the last step of their journey, from local Amazon sorting centers to the customers who ordered them. It announced the new program on Wednesday at a press event in Seattle. It's the latest attempt by Amazon to gain greater control of the delivery network at the core of its Prime business, which ships 5 billion packages a year globally. Amazon new delivery service partners and their staff members won't be employed by the tech company. Will not be.
Yeah.
And there's the initial $10,000 cost will go to helping them start an independent business that has to begin with at least 5 delivery vans and ramp up to 20 vans over an undisclosed period of time. So it's not like you only have to have 10,000. You have to have, to start with, you have to have 5 delivery vans.
Wait, how
They'll-
does $10,000 equal
I,
5 deliveries?
I don't know what they're going to use the $10,000 for. It's to help you start an independent
Wait, so you need to
business.
have the vans and $5,000.
Probably.
Wow. That's
Probably.
a
So
Huh.
they're
Mike,
they're
can I borrow some
saying,
money?
I
Thanks.
don't want to. Amazon is not going to take any risk. We're gonna let you
All right.
take all
Yeah.
the risk.
It's you're the business.
Fantastic.
And I actually know an outfit that has been, that they told me that they're going to do that when Amazon makes it available in our area. And they're going to go for it.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
the first players are gonna probably profit from it. That's clear. But this is this is interesting.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Amazon's biggest problem, and by the way, the reason I'm canceling Prime is because it's no longer Prime. I ordered something on,
Mm-hmm.
when was this? I ordered something on the 29th, which was Friday, and it won't be here until this Friday. But it was Amazon Prime. And I paid $120 a year for that privilege. But the Amazon's biggest problem is the last leg, especially in big areas. Like,
Now, I don't want to run to Amazon's defense, but I'd be careful too that if it's out of stock and it will be shipped 2 days on, and when it's in stock, that's one thing.
not out of stock, already being shipped.
Or if it is, then what I would do is I'd call up and tell them you need a refund of the shipping charges because
Yeah.
you paid for 2 days, and at worst case scenario, that would be Wednesday at the latest.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, they'll give you $5 or something like that.
Yeah. I just,
Toward Prime Video. Yeah.
yeah. Which
But I mean, we talked about this before, and they're a technology company, and we don't care if you don't like it. But the reality is that my son is wanted a very expensive book. We looked online to see who had it. Amazon had it at the best price, but they also were not able to ship it until Tuesday. Get it here until Tuesday, which is fine. I looked around, found it in stock at Barnes and Noble, but it would be about $10-15 higher just for picking it up. No benefit to that, which by the way, on Barnes and Noble, I've learned that if you find a book online, check to see if in stock in your local store. If it is, buy it online, pick it up in your store. You get the online price instead of the retail price at the store. Several stores are doing that, so be careful with that. Having said that, we found it at Walmart for exactly the same price with free 2-day shipping. Everything was identical. So I bought it from Walmart.
Walmart is Walmart with this new sales tax stuff that we talked about last week. I think Walmart's going to be Walmart's going to be able to make a serious play here.
What's really the issue, and this is what Amazon's looking at, the real issue here is delivery. I've got 2 pieces of equipment that need to be returned for repair or replacement. They're not really expensive pieces of equipment, and the shipping charges are making it almost to the point where it's probably better to throw it in a trash can. An $80 tool.
Yeah.
By the time you pay 2 ways and repair charges, I mean, it probably cost me $10 to ship it back. The reason why is I guess everyone knows that FedEx and UPS give major shipping discounts to the big companies. Things that they ship to us, we ship back to them for $10. They ship to us for $3.
And the postal service, not just Amazon and not just UPS and FedEx.
The postal service typically posts their discounts. That's pretty much open book, but FedEx and UPS cut sweetheart deals that are never discussed publicly.
Interesting.
And that's their right. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that the little guy gets screwed in this deal. I mean, it used to be, again, the way it was in the old days. It used to be that you could ship something back for $3, $4, $5, and you just didn't worry about it. Now it's $10 up, and it's ridiculous. I mean, we used to send a lot of overnight letters back in the day for how much were they, Amnon? $10, $9.50, $11, something like that. Now they're what, $25?
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
We're just okay. That works.
And now you can send an email and it doesn't cost anything. And it's
but here, let me show you something that just happened yesterday. How it seems to me that these outfits are trying to take advantage of us. Kathy went last week. I love salsa. Kathy went and got a jar from Trader Joe, and it was salsa with harissa, which is hot. I love that. Boy, I was gobbling it morning, noon, and night. And I said, okay. I said, I'm going to order a few of them. Because you figured, it's costing $5. She needs to go to Trader Joe and all that. Get it online. See if I can get it for cheaper. So I went and I did. She at that time, she didn't remember how much she paid for it. And I had no idea. So I go and I look on Amazon, and it's $12.90 something, a jar of 12 ounces. I said, what? Nah, I can't. I went on eBay, and it's 15 something, the cheapest.
Wow.
And I'm saying, what in the world is going on? And I went to her and I said,
does that come half eaten on eBay though? Is it used?
A what?
Does it come half eaten on eBay?
So I went to Kathy and I said, honey, I hope you didn't pay that kind of money. She said, I would not pay that kind of money. So she went and dug up the receipt, and she came, she said it was $2.99.
Wow.
I said, was it on special or something? And she said, I don't think so. No. So I went and I did a search on Trader Joe's, which apparently they don't sell online. But I found out a page about this particular salsa, and it says we sell it for $2.99. And I'm saying to myself, and they were selling it on Amazon for $13.
Yeah, it's for places where you don't have Trader Joe's.
But I mean, there are a lot of things that you can buy locally that online are cheaper. And if it's
vice versa.
If it's well, I don't remember. I don't remember coming across something it was more expensive.
Because you never click the buy button.
But wait, but I don't buy that much. But that kind of a difference, I always said, look, if it's $1 or $2 difference, and you're buying one or two of them, go locally and support the company locally.
Right.
But if we're talking about a lot of money, then there's a limit. I don't have a money press.
But the big difference is food. Food will always be more expensive online because shipping is a lot more complex.
What is it? What was it that I bought?
I'm not talking about canned foods.
No.
Right?
No.
That would be different. But anything that needs to be kept fresh, or
that's in a jar. It's got nothing fresh or anything.
Well, it's a glass jar.
Yeah,
the way they sell it, right?
Yeah.
So that means different type of.
Point here is, I was thinking, oh shoot, I could go then. Of course, it's not going to materialize.
Yeah.
Buy a bunch from the local store.
Scalper.
And then sell it online. I told Kathy, I said, here, make some money.
What's the name of the salsa, man? That's a good business venture. I'd be interested in that.
It is Trader Joe's harissa.
Now, one
salsa.
thing you're not calculating into your thing here is the guy selling it on eBay is going to pay a lot in shipping, as Gal was saying.
Yeah. That's true.
That stuff
yeah,
is going to be expensive
and true when you talk about this. In most cases, the same item on Amazon is cheaper than it is on eBay, whether you pay shipping or it's free shipping. I always find out that the free shipping is just a scam, because you find the same seller selling the same item and he's charging you $5 shipping, and it's $25 plus $5, and then they have it free shipping and it's $30.
I found a solution to your problem.
Mhm.
Gal posted the link to this also, and I did a quick Google search. I found the recipe for it. You can just make it yourself. So much more convenient.
But it blew my mind. I said, "Wow." I mean,
But you got to remember, this is a Trader Joe's brand, and
Yeah.
that's why the price. That's why they can sell it in store for $2.99. Is
Well,
because this is like Walmart with their
yeah,
brand. It's
that's
called Mainstay, I think, or Main Strand, something like that. You can buy a bedside table, like a little bedside table from Walmart for $8. The
Yeah.
brand is Mainstay.
absolutely.
Go on Amazon and try to buy the Mainstay table, and it'll be 25. But the same table, because it all comes from the same garbage, the
Mhm.
same table in Amazon Basic is $8. And it's because it's a loss leader. They're not. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you think about it, they're selling this jar of salsa for $3. It's what, 12 ounces? They're not making any money on that.
Yeah, but why go with Trader Joe if you want to pay $80, $80 an ounce, you can go with the Minnesota Risa Spicy.
It was good. It tastes good. It's and all that. And that's exactly the page that I found, Gal. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, but it's
So
interesting. So there's a
wow.
person selling Minnesota Risa Spice 10 ounce for $80, and they're on the same resorts via Prime. You can get it for $10.
See. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would sue Trader Joe's. That's what I would do.
Now, why? Somebody's buying from Trader Joe. I was trying to find out if it's them selling it like that, so people
No.
will not buy it and go to the store, but I can't connect them.
No, this is being
So-
sold by
No, you see the other sellers. Yeah.
being sold by Electronic Arts on Amazon. Their games are such flops that they're now in the salsa business.
I'll tell you another thing about buying locally. I bought an item. I was looking for an item and a tool, and Home Depot had it as cheaply as anybody else did. The echo is coming from Amnon Golf.
And a name brand.
Yeah, it's definitely it was. What did I buy? Bosch,
Oh.
Okay.
and it was just as cheap at Home Depot. And the disadvantage was I got it home and found out it had been opened, so I took it back. But that was a lot more convenient than packing it up and shipping it back.
I think I referenced this months ago when I moved down here that I stopped ordering things on Amazon, and there was a couple reasons for that. One of the reasons was that the packages get delivered to the front office here. The front office closes at 6 o'clock. Most days I'm not home from work till after 6, so I'd have to come home for lunch, or it was sometimes a pain to get the package. But then I've also realized it's actually because of where I'm located more than anything else. Where I'm located in Wilmington, I'm less than half a mile from a Walmart, less than half, which is a super center, less than half a mile from a Lowe's Home Improvement, less than half a mile from a Kroger. I mean, I'm in a location similar to where Ammon's in a great location where things are close by. And I think that factors into a lot of it as well is,
Mhm.
I mean, I can hop in the car and I can be at Walmart in the next 3 minutes, as long as times it takes me to walk down the stairs and get in my car.
Let's think about that for just a second, though, as it relates to technology. Part of the problem, and again, Nick, you didn't get to go through the transition from the old days to the new days, but a lot of times, whenever the Amazon and these, of course, Amazon just started out with books. All the bookstores were, as I recall, their main entree into retail was just books. They were selling books at 40% off. You go over to, I forget, Borders and Barnes and
Borders, oh,
Nobles. I mean, these guys were selling at pure retail, no discussion. If you wanted to spend $50 a year and join their book club, you could get a 10% discount. Books are very, very like furniture, extremely high markup. They came along and said, okay, we're going to go with volume. So they started selling at 40% off. Then they started getting into other things. As they got into other things, they created real competition issues for local merchants. These local merchants were not only higher priced, but they did not have the selection. It became a matter of not being able to find what they need. what you need locally. And I would suggest that because of technology, stores like Best Buy and some of the larger stores are now, because of computers and inventory systems, they're able to better track what sells, and they're able to better understand what goods they need to be able to appeal to their customers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just my thought as to why. And gosh knows Walmart has the resources. I think Walmart is ought to be taken out back and whipped, because they should never have let Amazon get the reign over them that has happened. Walmart's had every resource and more that Amazon has had to be able to compete. And think about this. I mean, let's assume that we're Walmart, we want to compete with Amazon. There's a good chance that any item that I want to buy at a retail item is probably in stock at one of the Walmart stores within 10 miles of where I am. How about a
Guaranteed.
way to ship from that store?
Listen to us, Mike. Do you remember the days when we were slamming Walmart because they were mom and pop killers? When they were saying, "Okay, there's a new store in town," and this,
Yep.
oh
Yeah.
gosh, I'm not going to go buy a thing from them.
I never did that. I never played that game because I'm a capitalist. I believe that survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Do I believe in unfair competition? No, I don't. But it's going to be pretty hard to get me to buy into something being unfair. What's unfair is China putting tariffs on our imported goods, but us not putting tariffs on theirs. That's an unfair, unlevel playing
Mhm.
field. But as far as Walmart coming in and selling things at discounts, that's kind of the way the system works. I mean, I have friends and family who were hurt because of Walmart. And you gotta adapt or die. You can't just sit there and be the corner pharmacy forever, forever, and forever and expect the world to be the path to your door.
Well, the coolest thing Walmart's got going on now, I think, is this cube thing, this big locker thing that they have in the front of the store down here, and the one here in Wilmington, what road is that? I guess it'd be Market Street. Um, there's this big orange cube thing right in the front of the store. You can go online, buy something at the local store. A associate will go pick up the item and throw it in this like locker thing, and you walk right into the front of the store. It's right in the entrance. You go up to this thing, you talk to the person sitting there at the kiosk, you tell them what you ordered, and they just hand it to you. It's because somebody's already picked out and you've already paid for it online. It's great.
Why wouldn't they just give you the kiosk number and a code to dial in to walk in and get it without having to talk to a person?
That's what Amazon does. They probably are doing that. I haven't actually used this thing yet because I haven't purchased anything online and gone and picked it up, but I watched somebody do it and it looked like that's what they were doing. I know Amazon's got these Amazon lockers at Whole Foods, which is like what you're saying, Mike. They give you a combination and a locker number, and you just go in there and pick up your item. I found there's no Whole Foods
No.
the Whole Foods isn't between work and the home, so it's kind of out of the way and not really useful. But
Or if you really want to save money, you can go to Lowe's, pick out whatever you want, and walk out the door with it, and they won't even stop you.
that's true because they're told not to. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and I mean that makes it even more convenient. I could buy something right now. I guarantee you, if I bought something on Walmart right now, I don't know what they call that service, but I mean I could be back here in 20 minutes.
Well, what they're doing here is the pickup thing, if you don't mind, which I don't see it happening. I don't know. I can't predict. This is something that my crystal ball doesn't work well, but I don't really see a lot of attraction to driving up to a parking spot and having somebody go in and getting your groceries and bringing them out to you.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, I know, but you're lazy. But I mean, normal people.
Oh,
I'm absolutely there's no thing there. I find I spend less money if I don't go into the store because
That's a fact.
they're not hawking me at buying I don't know frosted
Milk
4th of July cookies with red, white, and blue stripes on them,
What
or
do you
whatever
have against
BS they're trying to
cookies?
sell. Whatever BS they're trying to sell me.
What, are you not patriotic?
No, I hate America.
You're a liberal.
So, I mean, I find that I mean that's the reason. And you're absolutely right, Mike. I mean, I don't want to sit in, but it's a totally a generational thing. I mean, I've never had to. Why would I go and walk through the grocery store when I can spend half an hour on a Sunday doing it, and then I
Oh.
can on Monday on my way home from work, I can just pick it all up and someone
I
just
will
load it in
tell
my
you
car.
why. I'll tell you why. Because and this is probably one of the reasons that some of these stores are so slow to do it. There is no question that there is an absolute science in impulse sales in a grocery store. People who walk through, pick up, think, "Oh, that'd be nice. I haven't had fig Newtons in forever. Wow,
Yep.
let me grab some fig Newtons." I like fig Newtons. I hadn't had fig Newtons in a while. But anyway, the other side of that is that a lot of people like the art of shopping. They're going to go. It's just like me. I don't like going through self checkout. I will go to a cash register that has a real person at it, but just because I'm old fashioned, not because it's better or worse. I have been through checkouts and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But anyway, the idea is that some people love going. My daughter was Kroger's closing up. My daughter went to, there's some things that she buys with Kroger brand name on it, so she went to Kroger to shop and go up and down the aisles. She spent 3 hours in Kroger.
Yep.
Probably $600.
I don't know what it was. I doubt it, not her. but she probably got $600 worth for 150. But it's so, I mean, there's a social aspect to it too. But what I'm saying all that to say that with time, I believe that diminishes. I believe people will find other things to do with their time, like gaming
Um,
Alright,
Go
and
ahead.
drugs and things like that.
go ahead, Amnon.
I said there were no specials today, but there was one thing that I got this week that was unbelievable. Mike, do you have any 48-inch fluorescent lights in the house?
I don't think so, Amnon.
Lowe's has the T8 LEDs, 48-inch tubes, 16 of them in a box for $17 and 20 some cents.
Wow. Are those ones that you can put in and leave the ballast in place?
No, you have to have an electronic ballast. Yeah, you don't. I mean, if you have the old one that goes click, 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 no, it won't work. But if you have the electronic ballast, it'll work in place. I took it, put it in the kitchen. Wow, what a difference, first of all, it makes in the light. And the price, geez, normally they cost about $5 a piece.
Well, let me share one of the best deals I've seen lately. You take this for what it's worth. Now, let me also qualify that I spent a whole lot of time when we moved into this house. I spent a whole lot of time educating myself on light bulbs. The You've got to be careful before you buy any LED bulb to notice what the equivalent temperature is of that bulb.
Mhm.
The average home incandescent soft white bulb is 2700 K. That's the number you need to remember. If you've got a dark room, if you want brighter light, a workshop, if you're using it for photographic purposes, you can go up to 5500 or even 6000 K. I will tell you that a 5000, 5500 K bulb is stark white.
Yep.
If you're not used to it, when you walk into a room with a 5500 K light, you'll feel like you're walking into a TV studio because that's what they use. It's not fun to read under. It's not comfortable to be under. It feels like you're getting a suntan if
Mhm.
you're not
It's
used to it.
daylight.
It's daylight.
Yeah.
So make sure. Now, having said that, out of curiosity, I was one day when I was in a Dollar General or Dollar Tree or whatever it is, the one that's over here in Cary, I noticed that they had some Sunbeam 100 equivalent watt LED bulbs, $1 a piece.
Mhm.
I bought about 10 of them. So far, not one has failed. They're very bright, they're very white, and they are excellent.
Mhm.
$1 a piece. If you have I think it's Dollar Tree. If you have a Dollar Tree and go in there, Susan says Dollar Store.
Yeah,
I don't.
dollar store.
That's not the name of it. It's either Dollar General or Dollar Tree. But anyway, go in there and see if they've got these Sunbeam 100 watt equivalent bulbs. They're very bright. They're like 14 watts to run them. And I expected them to fail the first 30 days like a lot of my Crees did, but the Crees have been updated. They've just worked. They're working well. I put some in some test fixtures and man, they light up the room.
Yeah, these at Lowe's are the Utiltech.
Yeah, I hate that brand.
Well, I mean, it works.
I
Look,
hate
for $1,
I hate it. I'm just okay. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy them. I'm just saying that when I'm in there, if I have to have something, that is the last. If
the
that's all they got, then that's what I buy. But
yeah.
that's the last one I choose. That
I
is
got a
their
great
own. What, Nick?
I got a great deal on something at Ollie's yesterday. I
Okay.
got 4 wine glasses for $2.
Full,
They're very
Yeah.
good. No, not full, just
But you can
regular
stay in a
wine.
hotel and get them for
full
free.
with wine.
This is a very good deal I got.
Yeah, but next time you stay in a hotel, you can get them for free.
You could steal 'em. I mean, that's also I guess that's a solution.
So Joey, quote
All right.
unquote, says last month that they had 2 for $1. I'm just telling you, these are a heck of a deal. You're not going to like them for your average room, I don't
No,
think.
right.
But for shops and things,
Garage shop. Yeah.
if you do cross point or needle point or whatever that cross stitch or needle point or something where you really want a lot of light, these things are great.
So these would also be good for maybe a multimedia studio for the lighting?
Absolutely.
I don't know what the color temperature is, but I would check it.
These they have. Oh, you mean
Are
what are
they
you
bright
talking about?
white or are they
The neon or the bulbs that Mike is talking about?
No, the bulbs that Mike's talking about.
I don't know what the temperature is, but I believe that they are probably greater than 3,000. I'm not sure they're up to 5,000.
See,
Yeah,
the bright white bulbs I think are 6,400 or something like that.
No, they're typically 5,500 is the
5,500.
standard, but
Yeah,
they go as high as 6,000 from what I've seen.
That's what those tubes were, 55, and they had 27 too. But I wanted daylight.
So
Daylight, yeah,
Joey
that's what I
says
got.
2,700 degrees Kelvin is the temperature color that closely imitates incandescent light. It's kind of like something I said a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, see,
Anyway, but
daylight.
the one you're accustomed to is 2,700.
Yeah.
Yeah, the daylight ones are 5,000 K daylight.
It was weird the first day when I changed the bulbs. It was weird. It was so brighter, so much brighter. But now
Well,
it's
in
you
our
get
old
used to it,
house-
and it's fine in the kitchen.
In our old house, we had 2 fluorescent tubes in the kitchen inside a fixture. They finally, I mean, and fluorescent tubes wear out. They
Yeah.
get those black spots at the ends of the
Mhm.
tubes.
And
But
they
they'll still work. But then when you go get a new bulb, identical bulb, and put it in there, it's very
Then-
much brighter,
Yeah.
and it brings the room back to normal.
Yep.
I didn't know anything about it. I went out and bought a couple of daylight tubes to go in there. We put them in there, and the kitchen just felt washed out. We took them out and threw them away and put in. That's where I first started learning about bulbs. Put in the right ones, and everything was back to normal.
All right. Anything else, guys? It's time.
Oh my God, I didn't realize the time.
Yep.
See, just time flies when you're having fun.
Yep. Anything anybody wants to add? Gal?
No, nothing to add.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
It's gonna be a hot day, but it's nice inside.
Mhm.
Duke Energy loves it.
Yep. All right. Well, good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks everybody for tuning into Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Nick, you're doing the show tonight. I know you are. So tonight at 7, Nick Craig hosts Against the Norm on Wilmington's Big Talker 106.7. And you can listen on TuneIn. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.